guys, it is Tanya, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another speed build. So earlier this week, I did a build that was an alien house in the world of Sixum, which is one of the secret worlds in The Sims 4, and I was explaining all the different places that secret worlds existed and how you can go ahead and access them and build on those lots, which inspired me to build something else in Sylvan Glade. Combination of got the idea from myself earlier this week, and because I've gotten a ton of requests over the last couple of months to build a house for fairies. We don't currently have fairies in The Sims 4, but we have had them in previous installments of The Sims. And so I took a little bit of inspiration from that. So I was kind of thinking, a very small house, maybe something tall. I was channeling a little bit those tiny like fairy dollhouse things that your fairies could fly into in The Sims 3. And I came up with this. So it's kind of a magical looking house, like I said, set in Sylvan Glade, and it follows more a Tudor style. So I use a lot of the wallpapers from Get Together. And I did not limit my pack usage on this build, and you'll just kind of see it coming together over in the next little while. But I did use this tree from Jungle Adventure. There's just something so magical looking about it. I guess jungle plants have that feeling for me. I don't know if anyone else relates, but I thought it looked really nice here, and it ends up being a very overgrown, kind of hidden house. Your Sims probably aren't going to stumble upon like Sylvan Glade anyway, but if they happen to, this house is a little bit more shaded by trees and stuff, so it's not right out in the open. So I thought this could be a little bit of a secret place. I mean, maybe because we don't have fairies in the game, they're a little bit more secretive. And I feel like in The Sims, a lot of our different occults have always been a little bit more secretive anyway. In addition to making this house a little bit more shaded by the trees, I also covered it with tons of ivy and flowers growing up the side of the house to continue with that overgrown look I was going for. I think there's just something so mystical and magical about that, so that's what I did. I go a little bit overboard when we get to the back of the house a little bit later, but dialing it back was an option, so I did that. And now we're working on the staircase. So the staircase in this house I decided would be on the outside because it was not going to fit on the inside, and I really liked how it was looking outside, so I didn't want to mess with that and try and make everything work. And this was already such a small house that I got everything in that I thought I needed, and it was like packed to the brim. There's no space for anything else, and I realized I forgot a bathroom. However, since this is more of like, a magical little house, woodland type fairies is what I was thinking of, I decided to have more of an outdoor space. So we have the bush outside, which we'll place towards the end. And then there's also an outdoor shower. And I think it just looks so nice. And it's just a little bit different type of gameplay when you do play with this house. Which, speaking of, if you guys would like to download this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. If you search Gryphi or the hashtag MsGryphi, that information will also be in the description down below, as well as a direct download link to the gallery website if it's easier to download it that way. Of course, if you're using this build, you can have whoever you'd like live here, but I just thought I'd tell you who I had in mind for this house so you can understand some of the design decisions a little bit, maybe. I did imagine that this house belonged to two fairies that were a couple of females, and they have their shared bedroom upstairs, and I just thought it was a really cute, cozy home for them. I can imagine them just living their lives together here, completely in love and like just enjoying the nature of this stunning world. I had to pause there because I've gotten a lot of comments lately, and one that really made me laugh, which was about like turning how many times I say stunning into a drinking game or something. I didn't realize how often I said stunning, like emphasizing the first four letters, but I love that. And anyway, I did think that the two Sims that lived here would have very special interests that kind of I associate with fairies, being outdoorsy, being artsy, so that's kind of what I went with. So a little bit later, I'll be placing a easel outside. I figured this would be a great place to do some painting from reference, looking at the pretty pink trees around you and all of the greenery and just the lighting in this world. The like waterfall area, Sylvan Glade is so pretty. It just really, really is. But I also thought one of them could be really into flower arranging and gardening and that kind of thing. So the first floor of this house is pretty much dedicated to flower arranging. It could be, transformed into a living space, but I thought it was nicer to have it as that kind of area. So that's what we end up doing. But now we are inside, And this is the middle floor, which ends up being the kitchen / dining space. It's very small, as this whole house is, and I did use a lot of stuff from Realm of Magic in this build for a lot of the furniture, because I feel like a lot of it in certain swatches gives off a more like fairy or a mystical vibe, more so than what I think of for witches or spellcasters. Obviously, it could be for either, and it was intended for spellcasters, but I feel like it fits this vibe very, very well, so that's what I went with. So I used 2 of the chairs from that outside with that cats and dogs table, and then I used them inside for the indoor dining space as well. I kept the decorations in here, the clutter in here, to a minimum to make sure that everything worked as well as it could. I know in these small spaces, you really have to figure out, what counter space is necessary for your Sims to actually be able to prep food. And in this room, it's the corner counter right next to the sink. I know some people will sometimes be like, wait, there's no counter space. The corner counters you can definitely use to prep food on, so I made sure to keep that clear, and I hung up those really pretty drying flowers over the sink. But this is the dining area. I played around with a couple of different ideas, but I think we ended up going with a couple of like garden-esque sculptures. At least that's what I feel like they are. I end up adding the little sun up above the table, this little guy. I don't know, I associate him with being like an outdoor sculpture, like he goes on the outside of houses. That's usually where I've seen them before, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I also put some shelves over in the corner with some like flowers and books, and I try to keep it look pretty natural, a little bit eclectic, a little artsy, and I was still going with the strong color scheme of like neutrals and these really pretty like rose. I feel like the wood on the walls, I don't know how to phrase this. The wood on the walls gives me like a pink vibe, even though it's not pink. It's like a purpley wood, maybe that's what it is. I don't know, something about it really resonated with this build though, so that's why I used that particular swatch. And then we're just figuring out getting a couple of the walls to be more of this wood paneling, which matches so well. I really like that. Of course, the inside of this is tinted a little bit from the outdoor lighting, but nowhere near as much as outside. And this is the bed I ended up using from Realm of Magic. Like I mentioned, a lot of the stuff from that pack worked really, really well for this build, but we'll be popping back up there later. I just wanted to just figure out what bed I wanted to use and then come down here. At first, I was thinking it could be more of a living space, but that slowly turned into, or quickly I suppose, turned into our flower arranging room. I first started by placing down these green walls, raising them up more, and kind of making it like a full green wall, which I thought was really cool. And I was like, oh, this could be like a flower arranging room. I really liked that idea of bringing the greenery in, even though that couch I think would have been perfect for a living space down here. If you guys decide to turn it back into a living space, I'd highly recommend that couch. But we do have the flower arranging table in here. I do end up putting one chair down in here, like a loungy chair, but it's mostly different things in here so you can work on your flower arranging, which there's so much stuff to pluck outside, right outside the house and throughout the entire world of Sylvan Glade. So it'd be kind of a fun little hobby to decorate all around with this. Maybe one of the Sims, the one that's into the flowers, does take these places and try and sell them in like San Myshuno or something, or maybe they sell the actual flowers and then the paintings of the flowers. I kind of liked that idea. And the outdoor trash can I did put inside because this is located in Sylvan Glade. It's not actually a livable lot, so I didn't bother to put a mailbox. Plus, none of them are too crazy, like magical. I guess the one that came with base game that matches like the theme of Willow Creek could have worked, but it's not necessary on a lot you can't live on anyway. But to kind of imagine your Sims could live here, you can have another plot you own and just travel here and never leave as long as you pay your bills. Now I'm working on the lighting in this room, and I had a lot of fun picking out these different options. They're ones I don't use too often, these like floating flower candles. I think these are from City Living. I placed these on the bed and I did playtest this. Your Sims can still get into each side of the bed. The whole build is fully playtested and it works just fine. Just make sure you have move objects turned on before you place the slot. And then I use these really pretty lanterns or like lights that look like bees from Realm of Magic. I thought they were so pretty and they're not something I've ever used. And then I'm adding this little wardrobe from Realm of Magic. No. That is not Realm of Magic. That is Get Famous. I'm looking at it thinking Get Famous and then spurting out Realm of Magic. But it's like a shoe rack, and I thought it worked pretty nicely for this space. It's small, and I just like the idea of it. So yeah, we're just adding a curtain over here from Realm of Magic, this like curved one. I wish it had better swatches. Luckily, I was going for a more muted tone in this room, so that one worked perfectly, but I feel like I struggle to use that curtain in general. It's so big. It's got a huge rounded top, which is good for the rounded windows. But the swatches are kind of not great. So hopefully one day they will get better as some swatches or have some universal swatches amongst a lot of items. That would be great. But yeah, we're just finishing up the landscaping, adding the outdoor bathroom pieces and then the easel. And then we'll be heading on into screenshots. I hope you guys did like this build. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you click that bell, it'll turn on notifications so you'll be notified of every single time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye, everybody.